Hello. I've been asked by my son repeatedly to make videos about some of the thoughts that I have about current events and just about anything else. By the way, if you hear screaming in the background, that's my neighbor's child who sometimes screams, so just in case. Anyway, today I'd like to dedicate my first video to white privilege. Just to answer a couple of questions right off the bat, if you're white, you've got white privilege, it's okay, it just is what it is. So very often when this subject comes up, what I hear is, well, I don't know anything about privilege. I struggle just as much as everybody else does. And that's kind of an economically based reaction to the idea. However, white privilege has nothing to do with guaranteeing that you make money. What it has to do with is basically situations that you don't have to experience and a system that basically supports everything in your life. But those are kind of big issues to tackle all at one time. So what I want to do is give you an example of what it is to have white privilege. We've all been pulled over by the police for making mistakes on the road, driving too fast, not putting a signal on, whatever it is, right? And here's what I know from asking white folks. Usually there's two potential feelings that go through you, or thoughts that go through you when you get pulled over by the police. One is you might get a little annoyed because now you're going to be late to wherever you were headed. The other is maybe you get a little nervous because you're like, oh, I might get a ticket. I don't want to get a ticket. I can't get one more ticket, whatever it is. But what doesn't go through your mind ever is this might be the last few moments of my life. And I'm not exaggerating. And you know I'm not exaggerating because you've seen it. You've seen it rampantly happening lately, where a person of color gets pulled over for minor issues, or even for calling 911 to help them in a situation that they're in, and they wind up getting shot to death. And unarmed and all that other stuff doesn't matter, right? So the fact that I have to think about that when I get pulled over by the police and a white person doesn't is an example of white privilege. I have to develop a routine that I go through when I get pulled over, meaning keep my hands where officers can see them, make sure I don't do anything crazy, make any sudden movements, whatever the case may be. And on top of that, which I absolutely despise, I have to teach my son that stuff as well. And if you've never had to have the how to act in front of police so you don't get murdered conversation with your child, again, that's another example of white privilege. It doesn't mean you're evil. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that there's this thing that exists that is not part of your world. And it is a privilege that it's not part of your world. So I hope that clears it up. I'll make more of these, probably once a week, once a month. I'm not very ambitious. I don't know when I'm going to make them. But there's always going to be stuff to talk about. And this just seemed good timing to talk about this thing. So that's it. Until next time. Bye-bye.